What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the greatest combat sports and culture show, the entire universe, Fight Podcast. I am your host, SERG VICENTE, and this is episode 366 of the show. We're going to go ahead and do a little bit of a weekend recap, talk some fight news, and so much more, man, because this past weekend, there was so much going on. I mean, we had boxing, we had MMA, we had multiple organizations of MMA, kickboxing, and obviously this upcoming weekend, we have the great rematch, the trilogy, actually, with Leon Edwards and the former pound for pound king in Kamaru Usman. And honestly, the co-main event is one I really want to see, which is Rafael Fiziev versus Justin Gaethje. Hey, come on, real fight fans main event. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about this past weekend. And there were so many great fights upcoming. But anybody who's watching live right now, anybody who's going to be watching, we appreciate you. Please like, share, and subscribe to this video and all the other ones that we have here on the Fight Podcast channel. Also, check us out on the Scrap News. Check us out on the Scrap News. We do our pro wrestling show over there on the Scrap News. Great channel, the fastest growing YouTube page in all of combat sports. So go ahead and check us out there as well. And as you see me move this beautiful mug out of the way, also do us a favor, cop some merch. Etsyshop.com. Here, let me pull this up for you guys. Etsy.com/shop/fightpodshop. Fantastic merch. Etsy. I'm even wearing some right now. Awesome t-shirts, everything, as you see, champion brand, as well as we have some beautiful mugs and more over there. So please go ahead and check us out today. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. So much going on. This weekend, the best fight of the weekend. And again, I know a lot of people start with Bellator, people start with some of the boxing, but the best fight of the weekend, we already knew it was going to be, is going to be MERAB Dvalishvili against the former champion in PETR Yan. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. This is a fight that I thought would be a competitive fight. And to an extent it was, but if you look at the scorecards, I mean, it wasn't. It was definitely a 50-45 type of fight. MERAB went out there and just absolutely dominated the former champ PETR Yan, who is now on a 3-fight losing streak, which I think none of us actually ever anticipated. But we're seeing this fight. Let me pull some of these numbers for you guys, because MERAB, guys, I am saying this right now. He has the absolute best cardio in the entire sport. No, not just in the UFC, not just in the bantamweight division. I am talking about the entire sport. MERAB Dvalishvili, the training partner of the champion Aljamain Sterling, the protege of Matt Serra and Ray Longo over there in Jersey. I mean, this dude comes out here, gets 11 of 49 takedowns, and lands 202 of 404 total strikes. That is absolutely ridiculous. And some people are like, oh man, 11 of 49, that's not a high clip. He still got 11 takedowns. Like, that is madness for somebody to go out there and constantly spam. And let's be very honest, it is not like PETR Yan had a bad fight. It was just that it was a nonstop, relentless pressure by MERAB. And again, if we're even looking at the strike totals in comparison, PETR Yan did have one takedown, 1 out of 5 though. In a normal fight, that might be good, but in this fight, it just wasn't. And he only landed 87 total strikes. I already told you, MERAB landed 202. Yes, he landed a higher clip, but when you were honestly losing by that much, I mean, there's really nothing you can do about it. This was a fight that I really was so surprised, right? You're surprised because if you're actually looking at what MERAB is doing, I mean, what's next? I mean, does he get the title shot? He goes out there and after the fight says, I am not looking for a fight against Aljamain Sterling. I'm not mad at them. They're loyal to each other. They're really good friends. They're training partners. I get it. So what do we do next? Aljamain Sterling is going to go out there and he's going to fight Henry Cejudo for the title. Henry Cejudo is making his first fight back, and I believe it's about 3 years. Sugar Sean O'Malley beat the exact same PETR Yan. So if you're not giving him a title shot, which a lot of us already said he was supposed to get the title shot, why play around? Let's do MERAB versus Sugar Sean. The winner of that fight either is fights for the vacant title or fights, Henry Cejudo for the title if he gets through Aljamain Sterling. What I believe is actually going to happen is if Aljamain Sterling goes out there, ends up getting the dub against Henry Cejudo, which I honestly, at this point in time, I'm leaning towards he will. he probably moves up in weight. Now, how does he stack up against those featherweights? That's for later discussion. But right now, I've said it time and time again, bantamweight is the absolute best division in all of combat sports. I don't care if we're looking at what organization. I don't care if you're looking at boxing. I don't care if you're looking at what chat. 135 consistently across the board is the absolute best organization out there. Also on this card, just moving right along, Volkan, or should I say Volkov defeated Romanov, the battle of the Alexis, right? I'm going to say this. Alexei Romanov is somebody that I was really high on a few years ago. He was ripping and running through people, hit a snag, and I'll be honest with you, it doesn't seem like he's the same dude out there. The number 8 Volkov goes out there, gets rid of him, 2 minutes and 16 seconds in the very first round. Uh, Guys, he is not who we thought he was. I thought Romanov was going to be that dude. Now, what happens with Volkov? I mean, who knows? There's so much going on in the heavyweight division now, especially with John Jones. Can he beat a John Jones? I don't believe so. If we're looking at what he did, think about it. He already loses Cyril Gahn. He took an L to Cyril Gahn, and now he's going out here and he is going, who knows what happens next, but it was a great win. He is a journeyman in the best way possible. A great win for him. Nikita Krylov defeated Ryan Spann in a crazy about 2.5 minute fight. He ends up winning that fight via submission. And the one that I really want to highlight for the UFC card was my boy Jonathan Martinez. Jonathan Martinez is tough. Okay, 5-5 winning streak, goes out there and fights NURMAGOMEDOV. No, not one of the Khabib clan. Different NURMAGOMEDOV. I don't know if Dagestan, it must be a last name like Smith or something, but it's a different one. Little contested. Some people had, NURMAGOMEDOV winning. Jonathan Martinez goes out there, gets a really, really tough win. Great pickup by him. I'm loving this kid. You guys should really check him out if you have not already. The rest of the card, it is what it was. These were the fights in the main card that I thought were actually relatively entertaining, and the main card itself was a really entertaining card. So that was UFC Vegas 71, and it's hilarious because it was actually not at the Apex because there was some slap fighting or something going on at the Apex. So I believe they did that at the Palms Casino, and it really looked great over there. Actually, I like the vibe over there. All right, moving right along, Bellator 292 is also this weekend. It was actually on Friday. And it was Benson Henderson against the actual Nurmagomedov, who was actually the lightweight champion over there at Bellator, the little cousin of Khabib. And man, I love Benson Henderson. Benson Henderson, guys, is one of the fighters that I came up watching. He was one of the dudes. I mean, look, another light-skinned dude with curly long hair. I loved every second and everything that Benson did. He used to go out there and fight with a toothpick in his mouth. Dude is an absolute legend. He gets stopped in the first round of this matchup. And we could say whatever about it, but one thing I am going to say is this. The question mark kick in the setup from Nurmagomedov, this dude is a different type of Khabib. He goes out here, he has fantastic striking, but he also has the same type of grappling. I mean, he is a monster. I don't see anybody in Bellator beating him anytime soon. I mean, the only thing that I think could actually hinder him at this point in time is if he maybe moves up in weight. And then even then, I don't know if he's actually going to lose. Nurmagomedov is so good, guys. He set up the question mark kick perfectly, threw a right body kick to Benson Henderson's, to his body. And after that, he went and threw the question mark kick up top. Luke Rockhold throws a great question mark kick. Israel Adesanya throws a great question mark kick. If you guys haven't seen it already, Nurmagomedov throws one too. Drops Benson Henderson, jumps on him, hits him with some ground and pound. Benson is doing what Benson does, defending left and right, but he absolutely had eventually succumbed to the choke by the younger champion. Let's show some love to Benson, though. 39 years old, the oldest person in the lightweight tournament. Bellator is currently doing the lightweight tournament now. UFC champion, multiple time defending that belt. WEC champion, Bellator contender in multiple weight classes. Let's show some love. One of the best coaches in the game, one of the best, most creative guys in the game. I mean, there are some great matches if we go back and remember him against Nathan Diaz when, he's in a split, defending stuff. You also have him. He was the one who really started the craze of the calf kick. People weren't throwing a calf kick until Benson Henderson did his thing. He retires after the fight. What an incredible career. We take our hats off. Salute to Benson Henderson. Okay. Also on this card, though, we did have some fun on here, man. I have been very critical of Bellator because I don't think they do a great job of, and I hope I don't get my credentials snatched, but I don't think they have done a great job of advertising some of these cards. But this was a card that was, had some good talent on here. I mean, Michael Venom Page is on here. He fights Yamahachi, and guys, 21-2. He goes out here. We saw him in BKFC. All it took was one strike. This guy, we've seen him knee people to death. We've seen him knock people out in some of the most wild, creative ways in BKFC, in regular boxing, in karate, everything. We've seen this dude do it, and he did it once again. Throws a first leg kick he throws, lands perfectly on the knee. People, I'm not even gonna pull it up right now. Super gross. Don't want y'all to see that. But what a great finish. Michael Venom Page, he moves on. Also on this card, the number 2 rank, Lyndon Vassell, who was somebody who at one point in time was at light heavyweight, wasn't doing well, was actually on a 3-fight losing streak. Ever since then, this dude is on a 5-fight winning streak. 4 of those 5 fights have been by knockout, and he has earned his way into another title shot against Ryan Bader. Now, in 2017, he did fight Ryan Bader, and Ryan Bader ended up KOing him in the second round. This is a different Ryan Bader. Yes, Ryan Bader just defended his belt against a 57-year-old, Fedor Emelianenko. Salute to the legend. I think this is going to be a totally different fight. Lyndon Vassell at heavyweight seems like he is so much more comfortable than he is at light heavyweight. And we already know the team at, I don't know what's called, Sanford, Black Zillions, they change the names. Whoever their new sponsor is over here like Crypto.com Arena over here in LA. I mean, whatever they're called nowadays. Great team. Lyndon Vassell is coming on, guys. And I'll be honest with you, he might beat Ryan Bader. All right. The rest of that card, again, it was what it was, but the main card itself was a very, very entertaining main card. All right. And last but certainly not least that I really want to touch on this weekend, Tim TSZYU, the son of KSTSZYU, went out there. He's a middleweight boxer, and fights at 154. And he defeated Tony Harrison. Tony Harrison, the former champion, the Tony Harrison who also defeated and gave Jermell Charlo one of his only loss and some of his hardest fights of his career. Tim goes out here and just demolishes Tony Harrison. Tony Harrison from Detroit, Tim TSZYU from Sydney, Australia. The fight was actually in Sydney, Australia. Now, did that have something to do with it? Maybe, but I'll be honest with you guys. I have not seen that. That wasn't Tony Harrison that fought Jermell Charlo. That wasn't even Jermell Charlo, who was on the sideline broadcast, said that himself. And Tony Harrison is somebody who has a lot of volume, has some great movement. He really does show his fight IQ. And then when we saw him in this matchup, all he did was throw, in my opinion, a really uneducated jab. There was no movement. All he did was back straight up, and Tim TSZYU feasted. He went out there and was landing his right hand at will. It was a big looping right hand. And this kid, Tim TSZYU, is one of those kids that lands with sticky shots. When he hits people, you can tell they really do feel it. Now, was it a little home cooking? I don't know what it was, but he went out here, hurt Harrison multiple times with that right hand, finished the fight in the 9th round, called out Jermell Charlo after that, literally says, "Say my name," to everybody in that division. He made a statement. Tim TSZYU is one of those guys that a lot of us have said, look, he looks like he has potential, but he hasn't fought anybody. Well, guess what? He fought somebody. Now, granted, It seemed like it was a shell of Tony Harrison's former self. Regardless, he has that name on his resume, and the fight that was going to happen was him against Jermell Charlo. I believe will happen as soon as Jermell Charlo's hand heals up. If you guys did not know, Jermell Charlo, the champion, somebody who I thoroughly believe should be top 10 pound for pound. That pound for pound list in boxing has been complete ass, if you guys ask me, but he should absolutely be pound for pound in that list. And they're going to fight for the title. In January, they were supposed to fight. He ended up having 2 hands broken in training camp, but he says he's healed up and he is ready to get active. All right. Check it out. In boxing, we'll talk a little bit more about a lot of stuff because we have some really, really great stuff, but I'll be talking about that later on today with none other than the guru, Brandon Camille, who is our boxing analyst who comes in for the Fight Podcast. So this evening at 6:15 p.m., you guys can jump on the same channel and catch us here. We're not only going to break that fight down, we're going to talk about what's going on with Tyson Fury, everybody else is going on there. Also some of the up and coming prospects in the sport, everything in the world of boxing. And later on, we're also going to go ahead and talk about and break down everything that's going on in this upcoming weekend's fight card. A little fight news before we get you guys up out of here. I have to talk about this. Slap fighting. You guys know I'm not the biggest fan of slap fighting and everything that Dana White's done. I think it was just done classless and a little bit, just didn't have the right tact to it. And now TBS obviously looks like they feel the same way. Slap fighting will no longer be on and no longer be held by TBS. So Dana White and all of them are scrambling to find out what's going on next there. Also, there was a rumor going on. There was going to be a tag team matchup between Floyd Mayweather and Deji against KSI against Salt Poppy and Manny Pacquiao in a tag team boxing match. Thank sweet baby Jesus that fight is not coming to fruition. It does not seem like that is a real story. But in the world of combat sports, it is always crazy because a little rumor on the rumor mill we have to discuss is this really quick. We already know one of the most fun middleweights out there, lightweight, or should I say welterweight and middleweights, Darren Till, mainstay in the UFC for years, was recently released, says he asked for his release, and now it seems as if there is a boxing fight set up between him and Logan Paul. So I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but we have to talk about it. But with that being said, that is about all the time we have for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us today in our, little episode 366 of the Greatest Combat Sports and Culture Show, the entire universe, weekend recap and fight news. Like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you follow us everywhere podcasting is available. And if you guys like, as you see, we have merch. I'm sipping on a little bit of peppermint tea. We have sweatshirts. We have, T-shirts. Everything's champion brand. Everything's made in the US of A. And that's what it is. All right. Love you guys. We will see you next time right here on the Fight Podcast. Love y'all. Peace.